Oh, hello there. Welcome to Midnight Show. I got my old boss, Armando Avalos. Armando, let's talk about joining the Army. Let's hear it.
Yeah, let's do it, man. I've been wanting to talk to you for a minute, just finding the time to do it finally. But yeah, man, the Army, that's when I enlisted in 2003. Went to good old Fort Sill, Oklahoma, man. OSET, December 2003 when I took off. And what was shitty about it is they could have just sent me out after New Year's, but instead they made me go into Fort Sill like December 20th. And I just got put into an old barracks and reception and stood there for about 2 weeks till everybody got done with leave and all that. So I literally didn't in process basic until like January 8th or something like that. So yeah, that's how I learned about hurry up and wait portion of it, because I spent 2 weeks learning drill and ceremony, because that's all we could have done. So for 12 hours straight was drill and ceremony for 14 days straight in good old Fort Sill.
Sucks. So, I never got to see it in the wintertime. Does it get pretty cold out there?
Man, it was freezing, man. The first night, actually, when we actually got our gear, that's how I ended up meeting my first battle buddy, which was Private Smith, old Tennessee guy. Even worse than Jones' accent, He was one of those guys that got in with the waiver, was too old, but because the wars were going on, and remember the first night we went to go get our rucksacks and all that from CIF, and this is the first time I did any type of physical work, so here I am, I don't know, our first ruck, maybe 30 or 40 pounds at the most, and it literally killed me, 2 weeks or 2 blocks around, did a little ruck march and all that, and then they showed us how to set up cots and all that good stuff, and then, yeah, we had our first field exercise probably middle of fucking January, no blankets, no nothing. And just heard good old Tennessee Smith, hey, who's that right there? Just that Tennessee like Jonesy does. I'm like, oh, it's Private Avalos. Why don't you come over here and get nut to butt? It's nothing gay. We're just gonna 2 guys trying to keep warm. And I guess that was a reality shock. Like, fuck, okay, here I am about to go spoon with another man to keep warm. But little did I know that was just the intro.
So what was your basic training cycle like?
Basic training cycle was okay. I did the OSET, the one station unit training or whatever, so we had the drill sergeants from day 1 to graduation of AIT, so it was kind of was a good thing. I don't know, for me it was just to have that type of discipline around 24/7, but it was an experience, the first time being away from home, 17 years old, 18, just turned 18, and was my first experience in what we call the real world, So what better way to face it than going through obstacles and confident courses to build you up as a person,
So what was your first duty station?
First duty station from basic was actually Korea, man. I was part of the initial wave, like Romache, a lot of the older guys that were in the platoon that were in Korea in 2003, and they got put on stop loss for deployment in 2004. I just happened to show up to Korea, and 3 months later, it was boom, ship off to Iraq. But technically speaking, the first duty station was in Korea, South Korea, at Camp Keating, or Camp Holy, actually, with 217.
So you deployed to Iraq 3 months after getting to Korea?
Right.
What was the mood of the unit like over there?
To be honest with you, back in that era, it's kind of here and there, I remember bits and pieces of it, but the mood, it wasn't nothing, it was excitement, I guess, all that good stuff, as a lot of people's first time deploying. Some of our leaders did the initial invasion into Iraq, so we had some combat experience, at least within our ranks, but for the most part it was excitement, something new. For me personally, it was just another task, they sent me to Korea, so now they're sending me to Iraq. So I thought it was normal, but little did I know that was the first time that it was ever done. A forward deployed unit deployed, you know what I mean? So got to be a part of that history, I guess, as well.
So what was that first tour in Iraq like?
It was pretty cool. It was I look back at it, it was Ramadi. You know, we were at Camp Junction City, route Michigan. You know, route Irish, all them good routes that, you know, if you were there into the Sunni Triangle back in 04 or 5 or 6, you know, you already know about those routes. But man, to be honest with you, I just look back on it and it's like overwhelming in a sense to see what we actually have to do to survive, or to come up with some makeshift armor just so we can feel secure in our Humvees, because they weren't up armored at the time. We were barely getting up armored when we got there. So we got them in stages, stage 1, 2, and 3. So that was something that, you know, a lot of people don't know. We were stealing scrap metal from the trash cans just so we can hang them on our doors on the Humvees, just so we could feel secure, you know. But we were attached to the Marine Corps, so a lot of our operations was at night ops, you know. And truth be told, man, you know, I just did what I told. I was that private, you know. I'm not even 90 days in the Army under real actual leadership, and here I am, 18 years old, making life or death decisions in Ramadi, 2004. You know, of all places to be at. So yeah, chaos and a lot of good memories, though, a lot of good times, and it installed a bond that I thought I would never find again, especially with that first group of guys that I deployed with. It was just a platoon of fisters, you know. So yeah, man, there we go, the first deployment.
How long were you over there in your first tour?
First tour was 12 months. The Sergeant Krantz, you know, how you doing? If you catch this, he was my team leader, you know. My first deployment is when I lost my first teammate as well, man. It's Specialist Coons and Specialist Kinslow. They were my battle buddy. Specialist Coons made his stripes. He got his sergeant, so it was his first time out in sector as a gun truck leader or whatnot. So he came out to relieve us at our position, you know. And I just remember Krantz letting Coons know, hey man, you know, something fishy has been up. We had a few cars stop, but we were at an overpass. So we were literally just on a bridge in the middle on the outskirts of Ramadi. So anybody can stop underneath the bridge and we would never know until they threw grenades, which unfortunately is what ended up happening to my teammate, you know. But that portion of the war was, I guess, the most difficult part of it, you know, was being so close and all the memories that I've had with these guys. And then in a slight second, just like that, you know, the whole tide of my whole life changed, you know. Essentially is what happened, because of my teammate's death is the reason why I re-enlisted, and then re-enlisted again because of other buddies that I ended up encountering. So it kind of made a 3-year commitment into 14-year commitment, you know, essentially is when I ended up getting out. So I just wanted to make sure I remembered my teammate from the first my first deployment, because a lot of times that I get into Afghanistan and that takes precedence over my other history that I have as well, you know. But I want to make sure they're not forgotten as well either, you know.
So you get back in 2005. What where do you come back to, and what unit are you with?
We came back to I remember for a minute there we were limbo in the air, which was kind of weird for the last, I don't know, maybe 40 or 45 days, that we didn't know if we were going to return to Korea or head to a different base in the stateside. As far as where stateside, we didn't know until literally about, I don't know, 30 or 20 days, 20 to 30 days before we were actually headed to Fort Carson is when we knew that we were going to Fort Carson. So we end up PCSing from Korea down to Fort Carson and end up going away from HHB 217 artillery, going over to a cav unit and being put under the infantry company, the only infantry company within that squadron with Cold Blood under.
Cav?
Yeah, it was 361 Cav still, but they were 2nd Infantry Division or 2nd Brigade, 2nd Brigade, 2nd Infantry Division still at the time. But I was put under Sergeant Kalich, who you did an interview with as well prior to our episode, you know. So he was actually my boss during my second deployment to Iraq, to Baghdad.
Okay, so what was that? What was the lead up to your second deployment like? What were you, like a PFC at that point?
Yeah, I was a PFC specialist. I kind of toyed around. Like I said, I lost my teammate during the my first deployment to Ramadi and all that good stuff. So I went into a big drinking binge, you know, and it was me and my good battle buddy, Eric Rodman. You know, we went hard. You know, we were downing bottles, bottle and a half, 2 bottles every day for weeks straight, you know. And it just all led up to 2006 and New Year's, you know, and got too wasted. You know, anybody that knows where Carson is, Pueblo, it's about 30 minutes, 40 minutes away south of where the base is. And I end up being too drunk and driving all the way, missing the exit to get off to just pass out at the emergency exit or whatever they have right before, I believe it was gate 20. And end up going through gate 20, trying to get through the main gate. And yeah, they weren't having it. And that kind of wrecked my whole promotional status and all that good stuff, because I ended up getting demoted and, you know, getting the UC&J, the 45 days restriction, 45 days, you know, self-post confinement and all that good stuff. But I end up leaving there as an E4 as well, specialist. So
what?
It was pretty.
What was your second tour like?
Second tour was easy. You know, I'm not going to sit here and say that it was hard. The hardest part about my second deployment was essentially getting the nerve to staying out in the city, because our second mission with our infantry counterpart were working at the Iraqi police station. So we would have to stay there. You know, I think the schedule was 4 on, 3 off. So we would work 4 days in a row and then go ahead and be back at our post for 3 days, 3 days off and whatnot. So it was just long monotony, Groundhog's Day, basically Keating all over, you know. So you just go, you worked at the inside battalion, and that's all I did in the company I worked under Kalich. So I was just answering radios and a gopher boy for the company, and I cover down whenever the line FOs went on leave. But it wasn't bad. I personally didn't have nobody that I knew that had any casualties or anything of that nature. You know, we lost one person in our company. You know, Sergeant Miller. But yeah, second deployment was pretty cool. It was simple, easy. It was just the lengthwise. You know, that's when everybody was getting stop loss and their tours were getting extended as 16, 18 months, you know, and I think that was the most difficult portion of it, was being in Iraq for that length of a time.
So you did 18 months?
I did close to 16, which sucked because it ended up being a full year because I was on the first wave of soldiers to go home, you know, so I went home in the first 90 days, and then month 10, you're expecting to load up your connexes and get your plans ready. And then boom, you just get punched in the gut. Said stop loss. We're here for up to 18 months. But thankfully I was end up just being there for 15 to 16 months, I believe.
So you get back to the States around December 2008, correct?
Yeah. Yep. I actually got out on New Year's of 2008, or January 1st.
It would have been December 2007.
It'd have been 8. Yeah, it would have been January 1st, 2008.
Okay, that makes more sense.
Yeah.
What was that?
I started thinking, like, wait, no.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
What was that year lead up to your Afghanistan tour like, and what was like coming to 361 Cav or Black Knight Troop?
Black Knight Troop. Well, coming to Black Knight Troop in itself was, I want to say by chance, if I'm not mistaken. A lot of the leaders, obviously, you don't know what's going on behind closed doors. You just get told, hey, you're going here, you're going there, or whatnot. But I was up at battalion under Sergeant Bradish at the time. And Black Knight had their own FSNCO, Staff Sergeant Duncan, you know, and he just wasn't cutting it right within the troop, you know. So I don't know if word got back to Bradish or what the situation was, but essentially I ended up getting placed into Bravo Troop, and then working under Sergeant Duncan, and then I guess I was just there to kind of help out or trying to be that person that, you know, not make us look bad. So when he fucks up, somebody's there to say, okay, I got this. Let me keep the ball rolling. And essentially that's what ended up happening because I ended up taking over FSNCO duties as well once Staff Sergeant Duncan got relieved.
It's early spring 2009, and we're getting on that piece of shit DC-10 to Afghanistan. It's your third deployment. What are you feeling?
You know, and this time a little nervous. You know, it's a new surrounding, a new environment. You know, we didn't even know I think we were planning on going to our third deployment to Iraq before we found out we were switching orders to going to Afghanistan, if I'm not mistaken. So, you know, it's just a new battlefield, a new area that I've never been at, I never had been, and hearing the stories from Kurt because he was in the region, kind of put things into perspective a lot. You know, not only as me as a person, as a soldier, but also as the NCO, because this would be the first time with actually having soldiers being responsible for them in combat, being for you know. So it was sort of like getting anxiety, the butterflies and all that good stuff. And, you know, anybody that says you're not afraid when you deploy is a fucking lie. You know, everybody's afraid and nervous. I can care less who it is, from the most high speed SEAL that you ever seen into that, you know, little guy that's 17 years old that joined the Army that's in the reserves here that you don't know about, you know. But yeah, man, it was game on, you know, just ready, getting everything situated and mentally prepared for that, because I've already know what the horrors of war can entail, you know what I mean? So it was mentally preparing for all that.
So when I got there, I got to the unit, I got to Black Knight Troop late before we deployed, and from everything HHC told us, they said Keating was going to be pretty nice. Like, they didn't really get a lot of contact. They showed us the pictures and stuff. But
yeah,
benefit of Kirk's foreknowledge there.
Yeah. Well, they did a good job of. Well, they did a good job of it being Romache, Stanley, and Kirk and Gallegos and the rest of the NCOs, because I personally didn't even know a lot of the info that the guys knew, that I ended up finding out eventually that they knew pre-deployment, you know? And I'm thankful that I didn't know all that bullshit, because they would have just sparked that tweakiness inside of you. Like, oh, then you see what else is going on over there. Boom, boom, you know?
Yeah, ignorance is bliss. They kept a lot of the dark shit away from us. Yeah,
I know. And and like I said, I think back at it now, I'm glad that, you know, Romash and the rest of the guys, they did keep that away from, you know, the soldiers and you know, some of the NCOs as well. And I know I keep saying NCO and stuff, well, should be a part of their meetings and stuff. And, you know, I just want to point that out. It's different as a Fister 13 Fox than it is a 19 Delta or 11 Bravo, a Scout or whatnot. So we're all I care about.
We're kind of in their chain of command, but not really. Like they
don't write up yours
at a platoon level, but we answer to other people as well.
Yeah. That's what I mean when they, oh, well, you're an NCO too, so why didn't you know either? And it's like, I had my own directive and my own intel as far as the terrain went and all that other good stuff for my job specifically, you know, where they had the intel and all that for their job, being scouts and being the ones that are defending the outposts and whatnot. So clear the air with that.
Yeah. So it's summer 2009. We've been in a few ticks. What's it like at COP Keating, day in, day out, before the big battle kicks off? What's daily life like?
Daily life is miserable, man. It's horrible. It's
You didn't like
it? Definitely got your weight down. I can say that. You know, I was in the best shape of my life being there. You know,
it was easy to lose weight. You didn't even have to lift a finger.
You didn't have to do anything. They just starved you to death and told you to go ruck up fucking 2,000 meters up in the sky, you know, and they come back down as fast as you can, and we're not going to shoot mortars to help you, you know.
Yeah, we never shot them damn mortars.
Yeah,
ever fire a mortar in support of a patrol?
Never. You know, it's sad.
Because I worked up some good ones, and man, that would have made my entire day if they'd shot that fucking thing. No mortar porters, dude. That was a bastard.
Remember that you guys went out, I think you were West Stanley, and then you were calling again on your way down, so you had your little waypoints. And I remember you calling in, and the commander just interfering. Nope, you know, denied fires.
I was up there with
coming back down. Bro.
Kirk and Jones.
What the
we
fuck?
were the farthest element out there. Me, Kirk, and Jones. And when I seen them bastards, Jones was shooting at them like they were 100 meters away. And I called it up. I did it all by the book. It'd have been fucking epic.
Oh, I bet, man. I can tell by your rage that you had when you came down the mountain. Like, what the fuck, Avalos? I had everything set up. Like, I got it, bro. I got it. Let me see what the fuck is going on.
This is what all this training has come to. Nope.
Yeah, this is what our job entails, and it's like, here you get put on a leash and you can't do your job, you know, and that's the frustrating part about our job, you know.
All right, so it's October 3rd, 2009. It's about 5:30 in the morning. What are you doing?
So I'm sleeping, man. I'm fucking racked the fuck out.
As per usual.
Yeah, it's nothing new. I had the 12 to 3 o'clock shift though. Believe it or not, I was at LRAS 2, and then Larson came. Not Larson, Mace, I think it was. Who came and relieved me at 3? It was Larson.
Larson was on guard. Mace came in to run out. That's how he ended up there.
Yeah, so it was Larson who came and relieved me at 3 in the morning. So I had guard from 12 to 3, midnight to 03, and then I BS'd a little bit, and then racked the fuck out. You know, nobody was up. Everybody was already out.
I was on the same shift on ECP.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it's all 3 too.
Yeah, because I got off at 3, and I chilled out for 3 hours, watched some movie with Gallegos.
Yeah.
And then was about to rack out when this shit kicked on.
Yeah. Which is crazy, since we're speaking about Gallegos right there on SOG, man. It was one of the weirdest conversations I had with them a week prior to everything happening to October 3rd, man. It was literally out there 2 o'clock in the morning, both of us just trying to stay awake. He's SOG, you know, and for the last hour, that's all we bullshitted about. It was A, the toughness of the men that we fought alongside with, everybody in Red Platoon, and B, you know, the reactions that people were going to have if something like October 3rd occurred, you know. And it's like, even a week before everything happened, he already called it out, and he kind of knew everybody's reaction and how they were going to react before they even knew how they were going to react, because some of the people that he called out that wouldn't do shit didn't do shit that day. But yeah, no, so we had this convo in the gun truck, and just being about what would happen or whatnot, you know. And I just remembered telling him that no matter what happened, you can always count on me. You know, I'm going to be there regardless. You know, I don't really give a shit what the circumstances are going to be, or what the case was, you know. And it was vice versa, mutual respecting, you know. And jokingly, the dark humor that we all have. He told me too, I'll make sure if I do go, I'll make sure I go at the worst possible spot on the outpost for you to come and retrieve me, just so I could be one dick to you one last time, And yeah, when I ended up retrieving his body, it was at the worst possible spot to be at,
He was he's behind the shitters.
He was behind the shitters at the lower elevation, and it's he was just wedged in between a rock, so he was using it as cover, trying to.
Yeah, for people back home,
he was
Gallegos. He was what, like 260, 275 at that time.
Just muscle at that time.
Big old boy.
He's big boy, man, and yeah, so he was situated toward the switchbacks. He was put in that position, so. I don't know what his actions were that day. Personally seeing him or witnessing it, only a handful of people know that. But when I got to my man, he was fixated to the switchbacks.
About 6 o'clock. What?
Right.
What's happening?
The alarm went off, man. The good old B-10 alarm went off, and you just heard that first explosion, and you just sit back and it just wakes you up. I get out of bunk, you just hear everything going on. And at this point, everybody in the platoon is up, getting their clothes on and or whatnot, and getting their gear on, getting ready for battle and stuff, and there's a couple moments within the battle that's vivid to me that will always stick out. And the first one for me is that jumping out of bed and just hearing Kurt right next to me just being obnoxious, and it's like, he always did that to me, and it wasn't a bad thing. It was him, his way of trying to make you better, always getting underneath your skin. Yeah. Hurry up, Avalos, hurry up before I end the war. And what the fuck are you doing here for? And look at you, little guy. You have smaller legs and I have more clothing, and yet I'm dressed before you, And it was little cracks like that. You're like, man, how the hell is this guy thinking about, talking shit at a moment like this, and we're just all getting ready, But that just showed the type of the man that Kirk was. He was so sure himself, and goddamn, he was good at what he did. So he had every right to be that way,
Yeah, him and Gallegos had that special talent of not motivating you by making you feel bad about shit necessarily, like just inspiring you to be better.
Right. Yeah. So, I'm watching all these guys, they're getting dressed, and I'm watching them one by one leave the room, and I just, vividly remember just Kurt, opening up our door, going out by the talk, just looking back one last time, just to give me that one, hey, hurry the fuck up, Avalos. And then he just darts out, and I just finished getting dressed and getting my stuff up and do my normal run into the talk to figure out, where I'm needed, and I'm running to Bunderman and Suter and Lieutenant Schroed or FSO. And at this time, the volume starts picking up a lot heavier. I think at this time, it's probably the most that I've ever heard it, since we've been there for 2.5 months by then, and just hearing the overwhelming volume of fire and just the constant explosions that are going off, that's going off outside that I can hear and I can feel, but I can't see because I'm in the talk still, and I just remember just being maybe the first 20 minutes, I stood inside the talk trying to paint a picture of what was going on as far as where I could be more effective use at,
the fire situation wasn't very good at that point.
Yeah, at that point, our mortars were targeted, so they were out of the fight. Artillery was out of range, so it was not like I can call artillery strikes in. And our backup mortars at Fritchie, they were getting attacked simultaneously as us. So I guess at that moment, it's probably as a fister, your worst fear that you train so much at this time. I'm 7 years in as a fister, and you do all this job and you get told and you trained up and you get told when shit hits the fan, they're gonna look for you. and it's time for you to execute your job, you know, and shit's hitting the fan. It's time to execute your job.
There's no
and
job left.
There's no job left. There's no pieces, nothing, you know, and it's just like, okay, what the fuck do I do? You know, it's like my job isn't to fight. It is to call in airstrikes and artillery rounds, not to go out there and be a frontline soldier, you know? So I'm just taking direction with Bunderman being his little gopher boy for the time being, you know, running back and forth to battle positions or whatnot. And then I come back in. I can't remember where I went. I stepped out and went to Red Platoon Barracks to get something. But I ended up coming back. I think that this time I started hearing the desperation in Guy Eagles' voice at Alras 2, you know, about running black on ammo, you know, and I'm like, oh, fuck. So here's my time, you know, just a week prior to this, I'm just telling this guy, you know, that I'm going to be there for him, you know, when shit hits the fan, that I'm not one person he has to worry about not being there. And I just remember Bunderman looking at me and just saying, hey, Avalos, I need you to go get ammo, run up there to Alras 2, you know, and it's just like, okay, let's do this, you know. And right when I'm about to walk out, that's when the explosion hits the corner of the top, you know, and it just blows the door wide open, and I just fly back. And I'm like, boom, just take that whole concussion. I'm just laying there on the ground. Bunderman just looks at me. And he goes, everybody looks at me, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, and I stand back up. I mean, I just caught the concussion. It's not like I got any fragmentation out of it. But I think at that moment, I realized to myself, you know, that was my first, oh, shit moment, you know, like, this is different. You know, this is not normal. That's when I ended up finding Dace was just walking by. So I ended up telling Staff Sergeant Dace, you know, hey, Bunderman needs somebody to run ammo out there. I can't do it yet. You know, I'm got air coming on. I'm trying to work my 9 lines up and all that, you know. That's not my job. I need you to get somebody from Blue Platoon to go out there and tell them to do their fucking job, you know. But at that moment, after I passed the info along, I went back in and I started talking with Suter and Schroed about where to go now, because I didn't want to be put in that position again where I had to feel to myself that, you know, I guess you took the cowardly road out because I sent Dace instead of doing what Bunderman told me to do, but that's not my job. I'm trying to get fucking grids and shit worked up for when birds do come in. You know, we can do some bomb drops and shit. But that's what I ended up doing for at least, I think, for the first hour and a half right there by the aid station. All that was just trying to put out little fires for Bunderman and Romache and whatnot, you know.
I was gonna say the first time I saw you that day was bringing me ammo in the ditch.
Yeah. Like I said, I
didn't head around the corner. You're like, you need anything? I'm like, something to drink and some ammo and my smoke.
Yeah. I did what I could, you know. Like I said, it was just a shitty feeling, man, you know. Go back later on while you were in the turtle ditch, you know, but just, I mean, you know, as a fister, man, it just fucking sucked, you know, knowing that you had all this supposed power in your fucking hand and you can't even use it because they're not even available to you, you know. Yeah. It's pretty shitty.
Yeah, you're just another random dude at that point.
Yeah, and essentially that's all I was, and so that's what I mean. I was just putting out little fires, like, you know, going to you, making sure you were still okay. I think Colpus's radio lost its feel, so I grabbed Colpus's radio, ran to Chapel to have him put the key in, and he couldn't get it working, but he got my radio working with the fires net. So I took that one back to Colpus, so at least he had some type of communication with the outside world, you know. So since he was in a stagnant position, at least I was mobile, you know. I wanted to make sure that my good old friend Colpus was taken care of, you know.
So it's about, what time is it about now?
Dude, that day, that time,
8 or 9 o'clock in the morning.
Any timeline, you know. I just remember it just hours and hours passed, you know. It was like one event led to the next event, which led to the next event, which led us to being able to chill once QRF came down, you know.
It was a full day's work, that's for sure.
No, definitely was, man, and then some. To be honest with you, we probably put about a 3 month worth of work within that little 18-hour fight right there, bro. Truth be told, you know, literally.
A lot of these interviews don't go into how much work we did, like getting the base ready to evac. Like a lot of people think we just at the end of the battle we just got on a bird and booked.
Yeah,
we
that's
did patrols.
So far from the truth.
We had to clear the base. We moved, ordnance to a place where it could be detonated and stuff. There was a lot of just manual labor that went into that shit too. And of course, QRM didn't help us with that shit. They just sat there while we did all the work.
Right, and it's not like Hollywood always makes it. You ride off in the sunset, and the hero is a hero and he wins. And no, it doesn't work that way. We were still stuck there for about 4 more days with nothing to eat, nowhere to sleep. Buildings on fire. Nowhere to shit, nowhere to take a shower, even if you wanted to. We did have care packages from everybody from Bostic, so that's one thing. Give a shout out to everybody from Bostic that day who did send their cigars and their beers and near beers. Let's just say beers, near beer, sodas, beef jerkies.
I got a box of Pop Rocks. That's all I had. That's all I ate the entire Battle of COP Keating was Pop Rocks.
My little fister pouch, man. It was filled with a lot of deliciousness that kept me through everything. The little M&Ms.
I had maps and compasses and shit in there.
Yeah, no, I kept food. I kept food in a compass and sometimes map markers if I felt dangerous. Sometimes,
So once the birds check in, like fast movers are in there first, and then rotary wing. What? Even if you're not controlling the birds, you're on the net, right? So you hear like what are they saying to the top?
Right. At this time, when the birds do check in, I don't know, I'm just like a 12-year-old schoolgirl because I don't know, I just get wet with excitement and happiness, to finally let Romache know, hey, we got the birds coming on station 10, 15 minutes out. I can hear everything on the fires net or whatnot. And from there, it's like Suter tells me, hey, give me the grids that you need to make the first immediate bomb drop, because when they show up, the A-10s and the 16 show up, we're going to go ahead and have them do a gun run and all that right when they get on station. So I think that's when I went back to Roe and talked to him about where he wanted his bomb drops first, and then went back to Suter and Schroed, running back and forth, about where Romache would want his fires to be more effective for his game plan that he was trying to set up, So half of it was sometimes plotting, and then a lot of it was just the direction of from Romache, where he wanted it, where he envisioned everything happening and going down,
So what do you do next after that? After once the base starts coming back under control, maybe around noon time frame,
right?
What are you doing then?
I think at this point, that's when Romache gets his idea to get going about recovering our fallen heroes and stuff that were still stuck out there, and at that time, he was trying to coordinate with the B-1 bomber to just level Ermel. But in order to do that, they wanted smoke to come down, while Fritchie was still going, was recovered by then, and their 120s were back up, but their squad leader was on leave that day. And man, this little computer system, I think I tried to talk to you offline to see what it was called, but somehow that got shot or destroyed. So they were literally shooting 120s just off of Kentucky windage of how they prep, and worst case scenario modes or whatnot, especially Stickney. Big shout outs to you, man. Because even though you didn't know what was going on or what I don't know what was going up there in Fritchie, but you at least attempted to shoot some of them 120s for me, man. And even though they weren't precise, he ended up shooting a couple of them. And we're still getting barraged at the Sheriff building because they know Romache and his squad is in there. And I just remember just checking fire real quick, you know, and it was like one of those comedic moments during the battle, you know, because I was just so upset about it, you know. I took it to heart. What the fuck are you shooting at? Like, I'm getting upset like it's training, you know. Like, we're fucking in training, getting upset that the 120 didn't land where it was supposed to land, you know. So I ended up checking fire from there and just letting Romeshay to let the guys know back at the talk that I can't adjust the 120s for them to identify Irmo, so they're just gonna have to drop it the way they're gonna drop it, you know. And just remembering holding nut to butt inside the Sure building with Raz and Romeshay, the rest of his guys, that he had the team that was gonna push out to set security so we can retrieve some of the fallen, you know. And you recall them with the bomb drop, you know, 3, 2, 1. And just remember that concussion inside of Irmo, man. It's something that I'll never forget, dude. It's just rumbling, you know. We're just watching the whole Shura building shake, you know, and it's just loud. And Romeshay just looked.
I had no idea that was coming.
Yeah.
And it happened behind me. I'm like, what the fuck was that shit?
It was a freak of nature, man. It was beastly, dude. It's like, you know, we're just 400 meters away, you know, danger close like a motherfucker, and just feeling the vibes and shit. And Romeshay just looking like, I don't know if this structure is going to hold up, you know. And I think he even goes on the radio and Bunderman asks Romeshay, hey, can the building withstand it? And Romeshay just tells him, like, I don't know, but, you know, keep it going. Don't stop because of me, you know. And he ended up going Winchester on there, unloading all his ammo, dropped all his ordnance on Irmo, and then that's when Romeshay kicked out, you know, and set up his offensive perimeter around the shit where we took the shit, you know, the shitters and shit.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was in the Sure building waiting until I got the call back from Romeshay, because my point at this during the whole battle now went from, you know, running back grids and putting out small fires for Bunderman or Romeshay or whatnot to retrieving our fallen, you know. And it's grabbing Staff Sergeant Martin and Staff Sergeant Gallegos' body back, and making sure that the Taliban or the fighters don't take their bodies, you know.
If you don't mind talking about it, go ahead and go into detail about that mission, if you don't mind.
Well, yeah, man, it's just one of those things, man. Like I was saying earlier in the battle when we first talked, you know, just not having that overwhelming ability to run out the top door in the middle of the heat of the moment, you know, when Gallegos was asking for ammo, you know, and I kind of felt like I let him down, man. So when Romeshay came back and kind of talked to everybody that was in the surrounding area about his plan, along with Sergeant Hill, we just needed a secondary team to go and retrieve the bodies while Romeshay and his team goes out and push, which was supposed to be Hill's job, to gather a team from Blue Platoon or whatnot, and or find volunteers. And I'll never forget this, man. And it's like the scouts, they always have this fillers green thing, you know. They're so passionate about it, bro. You know, it's sort of like a creed to each other that, hey, in the gates of hell, we'll always be there for one another. But not one fucking scout wanted to go get anybody that day, man. He was asking for people, and I'm like, at this point, I'm not asking no more. I'm telling you, you're coming. You know, like, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go get Gallegos. That's no ifs, ands, or buts. You know, I look at Ro. I'm going. You know, I'll figure this out. Go do what you need to do. You know. So after I realized nobody wants to volunteer, I just start grabbing. So I ended up grabbing Khan, and then Reset, you know, our water purifier guy of all people. And then Hill tags along, you know, he's supposed to be part of the team. And so we have a 4-man team, you know. I'm up front, behind me is Reset. Third man is Khan, and coming up to the rear is Hill, you know. And the bomb drops, you know, the bomber destroys Herbal. Romachet pushes out, you know, and I'm getting the guys in the huddle, letting them know, hey, my objective is I'm going to go and link up with Romachet. You guys just chill out, link up with the squad and wait there at the side. So when I figure out where the bodies are, we can go and get them. And, you know, and I look at Hill and I tell everybody on 3, we're going out the door. And then I just remember Hill telling me, hey, I'm going to sit back and pull cover, you know? And I'm just thinking to myself, you're going to pull cover. You're a one man with the M4 pulling cover outside the sheriff building. You know, I said, you're against 400 Taliban. That makes no sense at all. And then on top of that, Romachet has an 8-man team just right outside, you know, 20 meters outside that has automatic weapons and shit. But yet you're going to sit here and pull security, bro? That makes no sense to me. And I remember getting upset at him, like, no, like, we need to go so we can get these guys and bring them back. You know, and long story short, he just tells me he's going to be the 4th man. And, you know, I'm like, okay, I'll be number 1 man. And I don't give a fuck. So, you know, I'm looking back and I give the guys a 3 count, boom, head out the door. And that's when I link up with Romachet, you know, and I just remember seeing him and he's returning fire right now and just screaming at me, just pointing towards the, what do you call those? The connects that we had for
The laundry room?
Laundry room, there you go, the laundry room connects, you know, and he just kept pointing over there. Hey, Martin's that side, Diagos is over here. Figure out which one first, but you guys need to hurry the fuck up, you know. I'm like, all right, cool. So I figured the easiest one to get back was Martin, since he was, you know, nearest to me. So that's when I grab on Khan and Grisette and realized that Hill never fucking left with us. So now I realize that I'm only down to 3 or 2 guys because Hill didn't come out. I don't know what type of situation Martin's body is because he's halfway underneath the shower or laundry connex.
It was the showers, actually.
Was it a shower? No, it was the laundry connex. Okay. We were right because the laundry connex is right here and the shitters are right here, and Romachet had his support by fire right here along the side of the shitters. But it's just like, I don't know, man. It's an eerie feeling, you know. Just seeing this guy being right there, you know, and it's the most difficult scene to witness because you can just tell that Martin, he was just trying to escape, you know. He was just trying to get some cover, man. And it just, unfortunately, what happened at war occurs, you know. So I grab his leg and I'm pulling him out. And Grisette, at this time, Grisette was Martin's subordinate. So Grisette gets in the game. You know, he's like, oh, this is my boy. I have to be able to let's go. So between me, Grisette, and Khan, we're all just 3 rotating, dragging Martin's body down back to the sheriff building, you know. And we get into the sheriff building, and I just remember 2 things. Grisette, man, just losing it, you know. You just watch his leader, you know, KIA, you know, so he just loses shit inside the shirt. But my sergeant, not my sergeant, my boy, you know. And I just remember looking at Khan, and Khan's halfway dead too. He's tired of shit already. Probably used half his energy just getting that body back, you know.
Yeah.
So, and I look at Hill, and I'm just like, motherfucker, you know, like, what the fuck is your excuse now? You know, like, what the fuck? You know, oh, well, I told you I was providing cover, you know. I'm like, well, now you have to go. So there's no ifs, ands, or buts. Now I said, Brissett, he's not coming out again. He's all fucked up. I said, Khan, he's half retired, and we still got to be Eagles, you know. And, you know, he did me dirty again. You know, I lined up first, ready to go out the door. You know, I told Khan, hey, man, just give me what you can. I said, no matter what, don't give up on me, you know, because I'm not going to give up on you. And God bless Khan, because he fucking did it, you know. it took him a while to get there because he was a lot heavier set than I was. But again, I gave the count to 3 to go out the door. Number 1 man, Khan's number 2, and he was supposed to be the 3 guy. And boom, you know, at this time, I know who I'm getting, you know, so it's my guy. I'm doing everything I can. So I just zoned out, you know, and I just remember linking up with Romache again. And I'm just talking to Ro, you know, like, where's he at? And he just points behind the shitter, you know. So I take a run towards the shitter, and that's when I can see him. But for some fucking reason, you know, I thought he was alive, you know, because the way his body was, it was just leaned up against the rock. I literally thought he was on his 249, you know, he was down shooting because that's how the posture that I found him, you know. But I just remember hopping down, you know, and I remember just running towards him, and I remember putting, for some fucking reason, I grabbed his shoulder and I called his name Justin, you know, and when I grabbed him, you know, his whole body went with him, because at this point it was rigor mortis, the reason why his body was stuck like that, you know. I'm just, at this time, I'm just in shock, you know. I'm just like, here's my guy, you know. And it just all, time stood still, essentially, for them 45 seconds that I was there with Gallegos initially. That 45 seconds, man, it seemed like forever, man, because I wasn't worried about what was going on around me anymore. I was just fixated on Gallegos until I can hear Romache from above, from where the shitters are, screaming to me to get down, because I'm not even realizing they're targeting me now, you know. And I'm hearing all the rocks go off from the RPGs, you know, and it's splattering everywhere. And then I can just see the trail line of automatic fire, like creeping fire, you know, like they're, now I figure out what the fuck is going on, you know. And I'm just stuck in a bad place, man. I don't have my weapon because I left my weapon back in the Sure building, because I knew that I had support by a fiber Romache, and my main objective was to get Gallegos' body back, you know. So it's just, you know, I end up just putting Gallegos over me and wedging myself between the 2 rocks that Gallegos was in, and just holding on tight, waiting for the barrage just to fucking stop, man. And I just remember looking back up at Gallegos, man, and just thanking him again. Just thank you, you know. It's something that always sticks with you, you know.
Yeah, man, I know what you mean.
But
so how long were you stuck out there for?
I was stuck out in that open area for about, I don't know, 2 or 3 minutes, you know, and it was just me out there. Like I said, Hill never came out. Khan eventually caught up, but at that specific moment, he wasn't there either. So it was just me trying to basically hump Gallegos' body all the way back to the shitter, you know, low crawling essentially with them on top of me, making little snail moves back to the shitter, to where Romache's squad was, in order to get some guys to come down and help me lift up Gallegos' body, you know. So that's when I ended up seeing fucking Sergeant Miller, man. And if I ever fucking see you one day, bro, you motherfucker. And I didn't know this guy. He was there for 72 hours, and he ended up being a fister as well, which I didn't know all this until after the situation. But I just remember Miller right there by the shitter, and I just remember looking up to Miller and asking him for a fucking hand. Bro, give me a hand so we can get Gallegos' body up. And I just remember Miller looking down, just telling me no. You know, I'm in a good position. I got covered. I can't do it. And I just remember looking up at him and just telling him, I don't know who the fuck you are, but when this is all over, make sure I don't fucking find you, dude. And I'm glad I didn't, because he ended up getting on the fucking medevac and taking off too. So fuck you, dude.
Yeah, Jones seen him piss himself.
Yeah. What's, I mean, it's war. You know what I'm saying? And it's not a bad thing. And everybody reacts different to war. We have people there that, fucking broke down, threw their weapon down and went crying underneath their bed and hid the whole time, You can never tell how you're going to react into a specific event. You know what I'm saying? And I don't hold no regrets to anybody that day. The only people that I hold accountable are the people that willingly chose not to help. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They chose not to do what they were supposed to fucking do. Those people forever fuck you, it's a sad situation that not only as a human being, bro, like you see an American trying to lift up another dead American, and he's asking you for help, and your fucking reply back is no. Like, really, dude?
So you get
just because he said no, fuck him. But yeah, let's go.
Well, so you get Gallegos. You take them all the way to the aid station.
Yeah, we got Khan end up making it towards the ledge by the shitter, so he actually helped me lift up Gallegos back up to the top, and then from there, me and Khan dragged Gallegos' body back, and we got all the way back to the Sure building, and at this time, that's when I want to say the medics, they already had a team there to take the bodies back to the aid station, so that way Doc could call it and all that good stuff, the medical side of what has to go on. But I just remember just being there, just tired, like I was drained, for the first time all day. I was fucking exhausted, and they just like everything else that I had as far as strength wise or endurance just left my body. You know what I mean? As soon as I made it in there with them, and sort of like a adrenaline rush downer, I guess, in a sense. If I could have went to the corner of the room and went meanies, I would have went to sleep. That's how bad I was. I think I just remember bullshitting with Raz and Romache, the rest of the guys, for a little bit, and it kind of took me out that funk for a second there, and from there it was just waiting until QRF got there, because we already accomplished everything by this time. The whole battle was, I don't want to say winding down, but it's coming down to an end, to the point where we know where our guys are. We have superiority again with the birds being on station, and QRF on their way. And at this time, Kalish is up at brigade, Bradish, our battalion FSCO, is up at battalion, and they're getting our birds to us, and it's the whole momentum shifted, and at this point we're just waiting for our replacements to come in so we could just fucking take our bras off, and just unwind a little bit, for the most part, and just to realize what the fuck we were just exposed to, and what we went through and what we survived. I'm still astonished by what we survived, man, to this day.
A lot of people got real lucky.
A lot of people got real lucky. I was one of the lucky people as well, too, man. Like I don't know if you got hurt any time out there either, but not one scratch on me, physically, I can say that I wasn't hurt, after you look at the videos and all that of how much ammo was shot at us, how many missiles, rockets, rounds were shot at us, and, by the grace of God, not one fucking scratch, not one. So fortunate in that sense too,
Yeah, so it's nighttime. QRF has arrived. What do? You rack out. You take your little Mondo nap.
Take a little Mondo nap. No, man. At this time, dude, really, it's just I think I took a moment to myself. Broke down. Took my knee out away from everybody. I think I ended up going towards the chow hall area, just walking back towards that way, act like I was going towards the piss tubes and shit like that. But just had my moment until I got back to you guys, you know, because it's still a leadership role to fall into still, you know. Just remember just counting my blessings, dude. To be honest with you, at the end of the day, you know, just reminiscing at that point about my actions and what I saw and what I did and what I could have done better. You know, I guess that's with anybody going through any situation is what could I have done better, you know. But yeah, I think that's when I got word too. Big Bro ended up telling me that's when Mace didn't make it, you know. And I think that kind of was a kick to the gut, you know, because we all expected Mace to come out pretty good, and just remembered
that next morning was pretty rough.
Yeah, and I remember talking with Copus, you know, and I know in his little interview he said, "Yeah, I think Sergeant Avalos ended up telling me that, you know, my best friend died, you know," and
you were always spilling the beans when you weren't.
I was spilling the beans, you know, and it's like. I just remember Copus, you know, and he kind of helped me, you know, without him even knowing too. But when I broke it down to him, you know, and he looked at me, he goes, "Sergeant Avalos, you know," he goes, "How did you do it? You know, I know you lost your teammate your first tour, and he died a similar way. You know, he got hit with 6 pineapple grenades, you know, and he was just a beast too." And I just told him, you know, the sad thing about it is, Coach, is that nobody fucking cares. Nobody cares about what you're feeling right now because guess what? We still got 9 fucking months, bro. You know, and that I tell him today, you know, I don't know if that was the right advice or whatever the case was, but, you know, that's the way I was bred. That's what I needed to hear back in my first deployment when I lost my teammate, you know, because they needed me to focus because I still had about 30 to 45 days left when I lost my teammate during my first deployment, you know? So I just wanted him to be aware, just let him know, hey, embrace it, you know, memorize it right now. But also once we leave here, you need to put it in your little box, put it in your little heart inside your brain, and then worry about that shit when you get back to Carson, you know, because we still got 9 more months, man. You know? So essentially, that's the day in the life of Sergeant Avalos on October 3rd, man, 2009 at Outpost Keating.
Is there anything else you want to cover? We're at about an hour and a half.
No, that's about enough. An hour and a half when you break it down.
Talk about your doing prison guard thing, or
no? I don't want the 31. Well, part of another reason too is because stupid ass 31 Echoes finally realized who I was. You know, I was bashing heads with them left and right. You know, like, bitch, you guys don't even know anything about fucking shit. It's like pretend army on this side of the army. You know.
Yeah.
So I used to give them shit all the time, and then when the Outpost movie came out or whatever, that's when all the 31 Echoes started hitting up my wife, like, "Oh, I didn't know your husband was in that battle." You know, boom, boom. It was like, whatever, guys. You know, like, get off my dick now. I didn't fuck with you guys back when I was in. I'm not gonna fuck with you guys just because you guys know my history now, you know?
Yeah. So everybody, that was Armando Avalos, my FO. Thanks for being on Midnight Show, man. Appreciate it.
Anytime, man, anytime. I appreciate you being on here.
Yeah, you're one of my heroes, AV.
You're my hero.
No, you.
You're